Hello and welcome to PSGL Mexico. I think it's round 6. I missed round 5 at Spa last week, so we're still P2 in the championship coming into this race, but of course have lost ground to the championship leader Jan Opmeer, who is also in today's race. So we really need to pull it out of the bag and gain some points back to him to relight our championship fight. And we did not really do that in our first run of Q1. As you can see, we provisionally only went P13, and our second run of Q1 were only just about up on the delta as we're coming into the final sector split. So we are going to need to pull something out of the rabbit hat in the final sector here to ensure that we can go through, and we did indeed, and we was able to go all the way into Q2. We have done one new tyre run so far, and we are just finishing that, and we do a 12.9 that provisionally puts us P5 as well. And starting the final lap here in Q2, we are all the way down the pit straight. Provisionally P9, we are going to ride on board with this hot lap and talk you through it. So we do have a car up ahead, so we need to try not to be distracted by Jake Benham as we go through the first load of chicanes here. A really fun section if you can get it hooked up and if you have confidence in the car to throw it left, right and right again. And then you're just going into the second sector split, hooking up the car, trying not to overstress those rear tyres. And it's something that I progressed quite a lot on during the session. My engineer Ryan said that I was overheating the tyres going into the lap at the start of the session. So we was working on that, developing the theory throughout the session, and was finding more and more pace, more and more grip as we developed on. So every lap was a bit of a learning experience, to be honest, and going from the fringes of the top 15 in Q1 now to try and slingshot ourselves into the fight for pole position by getting through the critical Q2 elimination. 2.5 temps up on Delta, running up to the line, and it's P4. So the new tyre theory, the new tyre temperature theory is working a treat now as we're on our worn set of tyres here in our first lap of Q3, and we are just going to be finishing the lap, trying to pick up a nice and healthy delta to be working forward with Bresnego's provisional pole position. And across the line, a 13.1. And now here in our final run of Q3, a fresh set of softs, and we're going to be riding on board for the whole hot lap here as we try to chase down a new personal best, possibly a pole position, as we talked about earlier, adjusting to the tyre temperatures every single lap. So it's going to be a challenge, but we're going to try and maximize it nevertheless. Into the first section, set up the left and then the right over the curbs nicely. Let the car settle, back to the power. It's been very good through there. A 10.5 found already, and then flying down to the start of sector 2. Keep it in 7th gear, and now down into 3rd gear. Let the car rotate, and it's been pretty successful through there as well. Picked up nice rotation, nice traction as well, and now through the right hand. It was a little bit under the limit, but the traction was very good to make up for that. Into the fast left-hander, commit over the inside white line. That was just about perfect as we go through the left. And now the right, left again, tried not to make the car bottom out over the curbings, and now to the end of the second sector split. It's a 4.3, and it is going to be into the final apexes. Try not to lock up the rear too much into the hairpin. Let the car go straight, run it over the inside curbing, into the final apex on the lap, let the car rotate, back to the power, and now it is just going to be 6 temps up on the delta, and it's going to be a 5.52, what provisionally puts us P3 on the grid, but then does turn into P6 as well. So was a very nice effort, and we're going to be in a very nice grid position for lights out, and away we go here in Mexico on the hard compound tires. Bit of a mixed strategy, to be honest, comparing to the previous races, and it's going to be very intense on the run down to turn 1. You can see Otis and Tom Manley on the medium compound tyres all around us, and now we're going to be looking down the inside, not really risking too much on the brakes and keeping my car as clean as possible, trying to look around the outside of Otis, but we just got a little bit boxed in by Daniel Bresne up ahead, but was able to retain into P7 on the race start. So we did lose 2 positions on the run down to turn 1, but they were only to people on the medium compound tyres, and of course we are on the hard compound tyres, so it has been quite productive, quite positive for a start for us overall. We did not really lose any positions to people that we were racing, and that is a really important thing. You see Bresnay and Otis fighting up ahead, and you can see Bresnay is a little bit slow here as he turns off the battery, so I did think...
Just to confirm, we lost no position to hard runners, right?
I did think about having a little look at Bresnay down into Sector 3, but not really worthwhile, to be honest. While I have to burn so much of my battery and it's such a high-risk maneuver, it's not worth it. So we decided to sit in, relax, and just start to build up in a smooth, progressive way, as we have got a very, very long way to go in this race. End of lap 1, P7, what can we do?
If we get anything on Bresnay's battery, would be cool. I'm going to try and dispatch him now.
You can hear me say I'm going to try and dispatch him now down the straight, and you can see we pull out from the slipstream, and now we've got Otis up ahead, what means Bresnay's going to be a little bit boxed in, but nevertheless, he brakes later, but we're able to keep the car composed and then go around the outside of him in turn 2. He didn't really fight it that much, what was good for us. But yeah, was able to dispatch him, what's going to be quite important as those medium tyres degrade further into the stint.
Largely at the moment, I'm just focusing what I talked about in that text message. You can see with my driving anyway.
So yeah, basically, as you can hear me alluding to right now, I was referring to a strategy and a tyre management program and a management strategy that we talked about before the race, and that's what I'm dialing myself into right now to ensure that I have the best tyres possible for later in the stint. You can see now on lap 10, we're all over the back of Otis, who's all over the back of Tom Manley. We're going to go 3 wide down the straight, and we're going to be able to pick off 2 cars in one overtake, and now side by side with Otis, rubbing wheel to wheel around the outside, just about getting the move completed, and we have transformed our race, going from P6 to P4 in one straight, and now we're all over the back of our teammate Thomas Ronhart, who's all over the back of Barry Burman, and then Nicholas Longay up ahead. So Ferrari, and then Sauber, and it is running like a train at the moment. So we are going to be cutting on into lap 14, and unfortunately Thomas is actually going to touch the back of Barry in the braking zone here, but that does open up the door for us. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. Thomas, I think, is in the stewards at the moment. Well, not at the moment. The stewards results will be published tomorrow, so Friday night. So at the moment, there is a steward investigation between Thomas and Barry for what happened there. So we'll have to see what happens in the stewards. But nevertheless, helped our race in that situation, although I don't really like to say it like that because it was a collision involving my teammate. But yeah, it's quite obvious.
Let me know now.
It helped my race, even though it was not on purpose.
Because if I give the place back to... Okay, if I give the place back to Barry, it might neutralise it in the stewards. Let me know.
So you hear me say, should I give the place back to Barry? Because if Barry gets back into P2, then the stewards might neutralise the decision to maybe give Thomas a penalty.
Then I'll just carry on the rest of the race normally.
So my engineers decided against it. They decided, okay, just carry on the race normally, because I don't think the stewards will consider that. But yeah, my thought process on that moment was to be like a team player and to try and work to get Barry back in P2, and then if they did make a protest for the stewards, we can basically say as a team, well, hang on, we gave back the place. So although it was unfortunate what happened with the contact, at least he did not gain a lasting advantage from it. So that didn't happen. Barry looks down the inside a little bit right now, but decides not to go for it. But you can see now in lap 18, we've been working very well with the slipstream and DRS with Nicholas Longay to gain race time. So yeah, gaining a lot of race time at the moment comparing to the people who was starting on the mediums, Tom Manley, Otis Lawrence, and Daniel Bresnay. So this was a really important phase of the race, because if you just start fighting pointlessly at the moment,
tell me the permutations again, what's happening?
A lot of race time, then ultimately we would end up losing so much time to the people on the opposite strategy that we would be fighting for the win anyway. So you have to work together in these moments and not cost each other time, and then to be working forward in as productive way as possible. We got the pull box opposite compared to Ferrari. So Nicholas boxed in, we decide to stay out, and now we have got the overcut, and this lap is critical for us to master, nail, and be on the limit every apex, every straight, every decision to maximize this lap so we do not lose that much time. They have came out in a train of cars, and we are going to have some work to do as now we come into the pit lane here on the end of lap 23, just getting the car slowed down. Thomas Ronhart is following us in. Jarno is going longer, so this is going to be an intense period of the race coming into our pit stall.
And what is the difference on tyres?
You can hear me asking what is the difference on tyres, as I'm going to be strapping on a fresh set of medium tyres, and now cars are going to be streaming their way past us down the pit straight, and now we are going to be here on lap 24 behind Shinaka Clay, behind both the Ferraris, but they have only gained 1.2, 1.3 seconds to us, even with the undercut. So we're still in a very strong position, but we need to stay calm, not overuse our battery, not overuse our tyres, and manage the race situation as it unfolds. You can see now Frederick Rasmussen up ahead, who boxed really early, so was on really old tyres, is now defending quite a lot. It's almost 3 wide up ahead. We think about looking around the outside, but back out of it, and now there's contact with Shinaka and Bari up ahead. You can see me and Thomas are actually working together. He's bump drafting me down this straight, so we don't need to use battery and waste time fighting each other. But up ahead, Frederick Rasmussen is still going very slowly. We look around the outside of Shinaka, but nothing doing there, not able to put it off. But now slow into the final corner, and there's almost contact, and we're losing seconds, literal seconds, fighting in this battle, and we have lost the connection to the train up ahead. And now we're gonna have to get the move done, and we're gonna be overtaking 3 cars in one straight, keeping the overtake battery on right now, down the inside of 2 cars into the braking zone side by side with Shinaka. We're gonna get the move done down the inside, and what a move, race critical that was, to overtake 3 cars in one straight. And now you can see that all over the back of us coming down the next straight as well. So yeah, really fortunate that they didn't send it down the inside there, because they probably could have, and that would have cost us so much time to the pack up ahead. So now, lap 26 of 36, we're P9, we have the fastest lap of the race, and we are going to keep that until the end as well. So that's a juicy extra bonus point for us, as now we're all over the back of Nicolas Longuet. What is really important here is to be calm, composed.
Well, if me and Nicholas can get through, maybe we can catch.
You hear me ask, if me and Nicholas can get through this train, maybe we can catch.
Okay, copy. I wasn't saying that negatively, I just more so I can plan.
So here, what I'm trying to do now is work with Nicholas and Thomas behind me to work together to actually catch the leaders. I don't want to fight Nicholas right now, because if we waste our tyres and battery fighting each other, we're not going to progress through these pack of cars will have older tyres than us, and that's going to give a clear shot for the alternative strategy runners of Otis, Bresnay, and Tom Manley to have an easy shot at taking the win. We don't want that. We want to take the win ourselves. So now you can see Nicholas going past Joni Tormula, and we're able to just about get past Joni Tormula as well. So folding through the traffic very smoothly, very efficiently.
Yeah, I hope his engineer's listening. I just want to work with him to go through
the pack. You can hear me even saying, because I was hoping that his engineer was listening, so I said that.
Will this train catch them anyway, even without me and Nico?
So yeah, basically I knew that Nicholas' engineer would be listening, so I was saying that on stream, so then we can work together in a more efficient way. So he knows what my plan is, and they know what my plan is, etc, etc. So now I asked the engineers, would this train catch anyway to the leaders, and they would have. So now we're much more relaxed to go through this pack as fast as possible, knowing that we still have a chance of winning this race, even if we lose a bit of time battling. And now you can see up into P7, and Tamas Gal up ahead, Nicolas Longuet, Ismail Fassi, then a bit of a gap to the race leaders. You can see going side by side, 3 wide into turn 1. There's a bit of contact, and you can see we just had to check the car up a little bit to not risk some damage, and now to fold through on the exit using up the overtake button, and now around the outside of Tamascal on the straight and able to get the move, just moving over a little bit to ensure that he can't send one back down the inside. But now on lap 31, up into P6, and the race win is in sight. This is probably one of the most critical parts of our race, that we decided to back out from this overtake. You can see Longuet has not got the DRS. We think about going up the inside, but we back out of it at the last moment, do some grass cutting, and that moment probably saved our race in total. It's good to know when to be aggressive, it's good to know when to be decisive, but part of being aggressive and part of being decisive is knowing when to back out from a maneuver that is not going to work out in your favor. And more than likely, if we kept our car on the inside there, we would have been spun into the barrier. At minimum, there would have been contact and possibly a steward investigation against us. So now we do not have that much battery left from battling through the pack, but we're able to get up the inside of Nicolas Longuet, Ismail Fassi as well. We make another double overtake down into turn 1, and you can see Thomas is able to follow past Ismail as well. And this is a critical lap, so critical. 1.3 seconds to the cars ahead. We've got very little to no battery left, and we have to get in that DRS zone of Daniel Bresnay by the end of the lap. Otherwise, we are going to be absolutely a duck in water on the straight. We are just going to have no straight line speed. So you can see we are pushing so hard right up against track limits to try and get within that DRS detection zone, and that we have here on lap 33. So this is critical for our race to be here, and you can see they're pulling away so quickly on the straight compared to me because I don't have the battery. So now into the hairpin, just get the car rotated, let the car go in, and now back on the power, and you can see 7 attempts at the DRS line, so comfortably within the DRS detection. I knew that I had low battery at this point.
Okay, info on Nico and Thomas. Okay, there's nothing I can do. I had to screw myself to get into the train.
So you can hear me say I had to screw myself to get in the train, and basically what I meant by that is I had to use my own battery to get there, but it was more efficient than just fighting Nico for P4. So what we did there was just get ourselves back to the train, and now we can start to worry about saving our battery. So you can see we didn't really fight Nico too hard on the outside line there, again, because there's plenty more laps to go in this race. Well, not plenty, there's 2 basically, but in the world of DRS and F124, that's plenty of chances to overtake still. Oh my god, there's absolute carnage up ahead. But yeah, there's still plenty of opportunities to overtake, but to do so, we have to make sure that we have a good battery level, and we have done that. We have saved up a lot of battery now as we head into the final sector of lap 35, and DRS games
they're going to play games here.
Are going to be played, and you can see everyone is slowing up, everyone is checking up, and everyone is losing time at the moment. So we're just trying to play the game of chicken, DRS chicken around the outside. And now look how many cars there are. That's 4, 5, 6 cars within about 2.5 attempts of each other, and now everyone is on the overtake battery. Everyone is sending it down into turn 1, and Nico's going to be a sitting duck like I talked about. No DRS, no battery, and he's got swamped by 5, 6 cars in the space of 20 meters down the inside, and now we're going to get hit in the side pod, and that's a disaster, but has been actually not too bad for us. There's contact all the way through the corner on the entry, mid, and exit, and now we're going to have cars swamping us down into the corner, around the inside, around the outside, and now we're getting pushed wide, and we always make contact with Bresnay, and now we're getting hit by Bari from behind, what cost us the traction, and now we get hit on the apex as well, and get a little bit shoved wide. So we have gone from being, I think, provisionally like P2 at one point in that sequence, at least P3, to being P5, but Pookie and Bari have a penalty applied in this race at the moment. I saw that and I was aware of that, so I knew that we were still going to be on the potential for the podium, and we're just going to have to bring it through out of the final sector, make sure that we don't get overtaken by Otis, and we're going to be back on the podium one more time here in PSGL.
Come on, another podium.
Around the final corner, P5 on track, fastest lap, but going to be promoted to a podium paying position across the line.
Good job, mate. Hey, congrats. I'm so really happy for you.
So, yeah, what an intense race. What an absolutely chaotic, intense race from start to finish, especially in the final few laps. But At the moment, there's quite a
Yeah.
lot of steward investigations going on, like I alluded to earlier. So Thomas is in the stewards for tapping Bari. Bari is in the stewards for tapping me in the chicane and the final lap. Bresnay, Tom Manley, and Otis are in the stewards for basically all that DRS shenanigans. So honestly, I don't know what the official results are going to be. At worst, at complete worst, we're going to be P5 in this race. Realistically, I think we're going to keep the P3. But who knows? Who knows at this point? And I don't want to speculate too much. But yeah, at worst, we're going to be P5 in this race. At realistically P3. A very outside chance of P1. But I'll keep you guys updated. I'm sure that you'll see through the PSGL social medias as well, so go follow them, etc. And I will catch you in the next video for the next race. Grazie, ciao, ciao, bye bye.